We've been talking about file systems, we've been talking about disks. Now I'll try to go a little bit deeper into detail about those file systems. Some of it we have talked about, some of it will be new. It's parted in a couple of topics. Working with file systems, including this one, is what is actually the reason for choosing various between the two file systems. This one we've done before, so we'll do this quick. FAT32, the old system, basically for small disks and for disks that you move between systems. Or, as they say here, where you have dual boots, meaning I have to be able to boot a system that runs NTFS or another system that does not support NTFS. In that case, I'll need FAT32. Actually, I think you can find programs in Linux that supports NTFS. Yeah, it will work, but a lot of your you can make it work. It's not. It won't give you any technical problems. But if you install your Windows on the FAT drive, lots of your functionality won't be there. There are things you cannot do. And some of those things are things that you would need for your security, to make sure that your Windows is working, it's not becoming hacked or cracked or whatever. NTFS stands for New Technology, the name of the Windows after the OS2 file system. New Technology File System. The file system Microsoft created for their new Windows, the Windows NT. Compared to the FAT32, NTFS provides a number of services or a number of functionalities. One of them is improved reliability. What it does is that when you format your disk, if you do not mark the express form, it will actually go out, write data to every single spot on your hard disk, then read it and say, oh, do I read the same data as I just read? If I didn't, that means I have a small portion of my disk that is not usable. Then it will mark it as not usable and avoid ever using it again. Problem solved. Compared to this, the FAT drive will simply say, oh, now I have a hard disk. This is all working. I'll start writing data. When I write my document, I'll write the document to wherever I am at the current moment. Sooner or later, you'll get to that spot where the disk is not working. Write the document, no problem. Then when you need it, next day, it'll read the document and say, oh, can't read it, you lost your document. So the NTFS avoids all that kind of problems by simply checking your disk. That, of course, takes time when you format it the first time. So that's why you have the little spot, express formatting. Do not do that one on an old reused disk. On a brand new one, probably no problem, no hardware errors. But on an old one, do not do the express. Make sure NTFS gets a chance to find those small portions of the disk that is hardware problems and avoid them. It enhances your security. It does this two ways. One way is the EFS, encrypting file system, that uses encryption to make sure that even if you get access to the file, if you get a copy of the file, you cannot see what's inside it. And the other thing it does is the file permissions, where it says, oh, I keep track of every single file and every single user on the system, making sure and knowing which users are allowed to read the file, so it can protect you from other users getting access to your files. It optimizes your space consumption by using compression. We talked about compression and networking, so what it does is go in, take some of your files, depending on your input, and compress them so they use less space on the disk. It improves your management of your space growth. That is, it has some system so it can help you knowing who of your users use how much space. So you can start managing, controlling, and doing follow-up on your space consumption, your space uses on your disk. and it supports large volumes of disks. FAT32, as general says, maximum 32 gigabytes. That's not a lot. That's actually very small to it. Whereas NTFS goes to 32 exabytes, 32 million terabytes on one drive. So we'll manage for a while. When we need to select between those two, lots of arguments, but what do I need to use my computer for? Do I need all those facilities over here? If I need one or more of them, I'll need to choose NTFS. How many disks, how much storage, all that kind of stuff you use to consider. Most situations, unless you have a real reason for using FAT32, take NTFS. All those possibilities, sooner or later you'll need them. The security one alone is the main factor for saying I need NTFS. How can we get from one to another? Well, of course, when you format your disk, you can choose. But later you can actually convert from the FAT32 to the NTFS. Simply go to a command line and write convert and then the drive name. And it will change it from a FAT32 to NTFS. No problem. Of course, take it back up fast because it might fail, but usually not a problem. The other way, not possible. So once you are on NTFS, you cannot go back. If you need to go back for some weird reason, delete everything on the drive, format it to FAT32, restore your data. There are lots of things about your files that you cannot convert back. Data compression. When you talk about data compression, you need to remember how it works. You remember what compression is. Yeah. Taking a file or an amount of data, removing not used information. Lossless means I can compress it so it uses less bytes for the same information. But when I use the data, I can restore the data to the complete original format. Nothing is lost. Or the lossless, non-lossless, where I lose data. JPEG pictures is one of those. The quality of the picture is actually getting less when I compress it. What NTFS does is a lossless. It doesn't lose any information. It only uses a method where it can regenerate the complete information. So you can use it on anything, no problem. You'll have the same file back. When we're running NTFS, we can mark a folder or a file and say compress this file. Simply right click on it and say compress it. Then NTFS will do it. All the programs using that file don't need to bother about it, because whenever you try to open it, NTFS will say, oh, this file is compressed. Uncompress it before I deliver it to the program you want to use. So if you take your Word documents and say compress all those, whenever you open them, before Word actually gets access to the file, NTFS will decompress it for you. When you save it back, Word will save the file, NTFS will compress it before it actually stores it on the disk. It functions totally automatically. You don't have to bother about what and how it does it. You can go into your Windows setting and say, whenever a folder is compressed, please mark it with a specific color to show that it's compressed, so the user can see this is a compressed folder. Whatever I store in here is compressed. The file size you'll see on your file. So if you right click on the file and say, how big is it? The file, the size you'll be told is the number of bytes it fills uncompressed. It is not the number of bytes, it's actually how to bind on the disk. That is a smaller number. How to do it? Recommendation is don't do it on the individual files, do it on folders. So that you don't have to right click each and every file and say this one should be compressed, this one should not. Structure your data so you can take a folder at a time and say this one should be compressed, this one shouldn't. We'll talk about which one to choose where. Once you have a folder you want to say compress this one, simply go to advanced. go in here and say compress. That tells your Windows everything in this folder should be compressed, so whenever you save something in that folder, it will be compressed before actually storing on the disk. Nothing else to it.